What is up, guys? Welcome back to the 5th video in the DOZER series. Today we are going to see if this old dinosaur will move. So I have high hopes that we can at least get some movement out of it. We'll see. An interesting fact about these old cases is that they actually didn't use individual steering clutches like the John Deeres of the time. So a lot of times you'll hear about bulldozers sitting and then the steering clutches will lock up on them and then you can't get them to steer either which way. But on these, it's actually just a brake steer. So really simple system with a primary clutch that is between the gearbox and the engine, set up kind of like a car or an over-the-road truck. So today we're gonna see if we can get this thing to move, even just a little bit. We're going to top off the hydraulic oil to get that reservoir topped off. I think we have a leak somewhere, which I'm not surprised given the fact that our pump up forward and the hoses were completely buried in dirt. That could have rotted one of the hoses through. And then we're also going to look into getting our radiator situation all good to go. The radiator that came out of this, while I think does hold fluid, it is in really rough shape and they want $2,200 for a replacement, which is insane to me. So what we did is we went out and got a radiator out of a backhoe of the same vintage, a 1963 Construction King case, which is a little bit taller and kind of a little different mounting system, but we have a welder, so we can make that work. So stay tuned, follow along as we get this thing moving, cooled, and hopefully the blade also moving. Stay tuned. Might not look it, but it's actually like 20 degrees out today. It's freezing, and I probably ought to grab some warmer clothes, but all right, let's see. This oil is like peanut butter. Does not want to flow good. All right, we're right at the end of the dipstick, so that'll work for today till the weather warms up. All right, I got the batteries hooked back up, and let's see, we'll put the fuel somewhere in the middle there. This has been sitting for a good week. Well, I was actually down on vacation with my family, and like I said, it's like 20 degrees out. I don't think this thing will start without starting fluid, so I have it handy, but maybe we'll get surprised. We'll see. Stand by. Had to go grab my jump pack. park in reverse. Do our blade control. This is our blade control. That is awesome. That was the first move in like, again, 15 years under some power. Alright, I gotta turn it down. Woo! That was rowdy. Alright, so I don't want to run that anymore before we get the cooling system figured out, but, and I don't know if you guys saw, that was actually, I was engaging the left steering brake and it was responding, which is fantastic. Again, because this doesn't have the individual steering clutches, I don't have any doubts that this thing will have issues steering. But if it is weak, then what we'll have to do is just pop the end cover on the differential and replace the steering bands, which is not really that bad of a deal. Also, the blade moves, which is sweet. It took a little bit for the pump to get some air out, as you guys saw, and we added probably 2 gallons worth of hydraulic fluid just to get to the bottom of the dipstick, and I'm sure I'll have to continue to do that, but wow. I gotta charge the batteries. These batteries are dead. So I'll charge the batteries. We need to clean the front cover of the motor. You can tell the belt was burning a little bit at the end there because it's got all that grease and junk in there, so I gotta take care of that. Diesel's gonna help me with that. This is Diesel. He's such a good boy. There goes my funnel. But anyway, she moves, she blades. Now we need to cool it. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so one of our next projects here, we have a few next projects, but one of our next projects is going to be modifying the mounting brackets to accept this radiator, which is out of a Construction King backhoe, rather than the radiator that came out of the DOZER. I do have to pressure test this, but this radiator is in pretty rough shape. Obviously, we have some damaged fins right here. We have what looks to be a braze or some sort of patch conducted up there. It's dented in, but the real kicker is on the back. And while I would love to reuse this, I don't know if I can trust this long term. It does look like these were repaired in a sense. At first I thought these were maybe newer occurrences, but these have been repaired in one way or another. So if push came to shove, I think we could use this. This is a Perfex Corporation Milwaukee. Nice. So this is pretty sweet. This is what I do believe to be the original radiator. This is what I believe to be the original radiator out of the backhoe that I got the spare engine out of. And this radiator is in way better shape. This was the closest radiator I could find that was somewhat close. And it is also, oh, Plymouth, maybe not the same brand, but needless to say, I'm sure this has also been repaired. However, just again, a lot better shape. It is a little taller and a little wider at the top. However, we have the space, because when this sits under the front nose piece, there's still probably, I would say from about here to here, about 8 inches or so of space above there. So what it comes down to is the different mounting brackets on each side. So we'll have to come up with some sort of frame to bolt that in. Shouldn't be too hard. Like I said earlier, we have a welder, so we'll get to that. Before we do anything else, we got to address this gunk and dirt and everything on the front. I've been getting so many comments about people saying to clean my bulldozer, and I got it. This is actually the first chance I've had where it is above freezing consistently that I can actually break out the pressure washer. So today, what we're gonna do before we jump into getting our radiator fit up, we're gonna go ahead and start scraping all the hard stuff off, and then we'll move forward with degreasing and pressure washing. This will also show us where we have our leaks, if any, which I assume that we will. So it is raining out, but that's all right because we're already gonna get wet. So hang tight and let's get this thing cleaned up for once. All right, I know you guys have seen a lot of this view lately, but we're back staring at the front of the motor, and got the cheapest little putty knife I could get because this stuff is thick. I mean, to the credit of all of you on the internet saying I need to clean my dozer, I am listening. I just didn't have the chance to pressure wash yet. So in the last video, or in the last one of the last clips here of us running this machine, you will see there, if you look closely, there's actually a bit of smoke coming from this area, and that was the belt burning up against the all this crud and junk that made its way down in here. Alrighty, so a lot better, and I know it doesn't look that way, but this was caked in dirt and grease, and now I can actually see the pulleys, I can see the pump, the hoses coming in and out, and realistically, right now, we just kind of need some working space for our mounting right here, and then we got to figure out our geometry with this guy, so the bottom radiator mount, or radiator hose, and this is coming off of the pump, so circulating up through, and then this guy goes to our thermostat, which sits in here. So this is going to change because of the angle. That has a 90-degree neck, the old radiator does not, so we'll just end up needing a straight tube. But we also got this a little better down in here, a lot more to come on that, but I'll probably be pressure washing this and actually dropping the belly pan, and there'll probably be 3 or 4 different variations of doing what I'm doing now to clean it up before we paint it. So anyway, I'm going to degrease it one more time, spray it again, then we're going to get to working on the radiator fitment. Alrighty, so we're actually gonna measure these together because I purchased this all off of eyesight and hopes and dreams. So I have no actual idea if this is around the same, visually it's around the same size, but we'll measure it up now just to kind of get an idea. Roughly 19 inches wide for that guy and 19 inches wide there. And then for height, the bottom of the core, we'll go bottom of the core roughly to the cap. We're about 28 inches. This guy, we're closer to 22 and a half. So we got about a 6-inch difference, but honestly, like I was mentioning earlier, I'm pretty confident we have all 6 inches of that to spare. We'll have to make these feet. That's the one thing we're missing, and but we have 2 bolt holes right here where we can make a bracket that goes down to similar size feet. We're gonna leave this one intact in case we have to go back to using this one, but the, wow, yeah, okay. So this bolt hole actually lines up with these upper radiator supports. This is off of the same motor, and you figure Case probably didn't reinvent the wheel every time they made a new machine in the same era, so we might just get lucky. This might be easier than I thought. This is the part of the video where we actually start doing some engineering, and this is where I got my name. Making things work that maybe necessarily aren't engineering approved, aren't orthodox, so to speak, and sometimes just straight up crazy. But this is easy. We're gonna go ahead and do this. Enough jabbering. So, it's a pretty delicate mount because we have this guy right here, our hydraulic pump, which we can now see, hallelujah, but we do have an idea of where this needs to go based on the lower radiator hose. Ideally, I don't want this touching the pump. That would be the goal. Not to have that happen. I wonder if we can move it forward. If that gets us off the pump. Because that's about where it needs to go. I wish I had another set of hands. 3 set of hands would be awesome. Huh. Alright. Stand by. Well, I rescind my last statement when I said they probably don't reinvent the wheel. This has a step down here where it essentially raises the bottom of the core and allows it to clear the bottom of the pump there, which in theory we can just raise the radiator and make more of like a little step down S-curve into our front pump housing. However, the front cover there, we might run out of room. So we might have to put that back on here and play around. Stand by. Oh, there we go. Oh, who am I kidding? We got plenty of room to party. Alrighty, this is kind of what I'm talking about. All right, so I took some cardboard. Most of you probably didn't realize I'm CAD certified, cardboard aided design, that is. Anyway, I used doubled up cardboard here to lift it off the pump just to get an idea, because now it's essentially, if I mounted it in place, you have somewhere close to a 1/4 inch of gap there. It fits good side to side, and look at that. I don't know how much you can see. It's raining and I apologize, but we're just out here getting it done. Look at that. We got plenty of room and this thing still closes. So I do think this is going to be viable, and man, I forgot how good this thing looks with the whole front clip on it. We've had it off for a few videos now, but holy crap, this thing looks great. I think that's a good idea. I think that'll work better than this. So we'll keep it on standby, but I think we'll get more cooling out of that. Alrighty, so I dug around in some scrap steel and I think I have an idea and a game plan of how I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna take some angle iron, cut it probably between 4 to 6 inches, somewhere in that area. And then I'm going to weld a plate on top, which will bring this up probably about another, from the mounting point, probably 6 inches or so is what we'll aim for. And then coming over here, what that will allow us to do is bolt onto the isolator and then make this first bolt hole right here. I'll take these measurements, figure out where we need to be so we still clear our pump, but also clear the top of the front clip. We'll cut it up, clean it up, and then we'll weld it. And then once we get them mounted into here, we'll move around the radiator, probably get some clamps on it, play around with different locations so we can figure out on this side where we need to be to have our hose connect. So with that, we'll get to cutting, grinding, and welding. Alrighty, we are wrapped up for now with the old hot glue gun, the old welder. But yeah, check it out. Not too bad for a guy who never went to any welding classes. It'll do. It'll do. And they didn't turn out half bad. They didn't all warp up or whatnot. So let them cool down a little bit, and then we'll get to put them on the dozer. I tell you what, it's hard to find good shop help these days. But this dude right here, Diesel the dog, he is he's some good help. If you guys want to see more of Diesel, let me know. We get him in the videos. Yes. He's only 2 years old. Well, not even. He's a pup. 90-pound puppy, but he's a pup. All right. This one has cooled down enough. We'll get this out. This ain't anything too crazy here. This little isolator honestly kind of looks homemade. I'm not sure if the old isolators had kind of kicked the can at one point, but regardless, this is our thought. So we bolted up to this guy, to this hole right in here, and then we figure out where fore and aft we need to put this guy. And we can also, if needed, probably just drill more holes on this side if we wanted to put 2 down here or whatnot. But I think 1 will suffice, and then we'll do the upper one. We need to figure out our fore and aft position, and to do so, we need to put the fan back on. That's going to help us find out where we need to be. All right, now that we got this guy back in place, I'm gonna come around here. I'll take this pole out. For now, we'll just set it off to the side. We'll assume that is gonna be our isolator height, and I'll actually essentially quadruple this up. Huh. That's pretty slick. I think that'll, I think this is gonna work pretty good. Alrighty, we got our mounts all done up. We are gonna come around here. We will take these back off at some point, so this is not forever and always, but we will slap this on for science purposes. Awesome. And I'll get some wrenches, we'll do the other side, and then we'll put this back up on the machine. And I think this is gonna be good though. I think this is gonna work out like we're hoping for. So we need to be somewhere in this vicinity to connect to there, and then also connect up here. All right, coming down here, look at that. We got, it's hard to see, but probably close to a 1/2 inch of space above the hydraulic pump. And we also clear the top of this hydraulic line. And she's sitting pretty center. And we clear everything on the backside here. So we'll just have to get a straight section of hose to go right there. And then I think we'll maybe take that hose temporarily and put it down on the other side to kind of make our little S curve now that we need to make it down to the front cover, which we saw yesterday. It's gonna be a little steep. We'll see if we can do it. I think we can. All right, in honor of reducing, reusing, and recycling, I got this upper radiator hose off of a 6-liter diesel that I had. I have a spare motor laying around, so I took this guy off, and this is the size we need. So now, what I want to do is figure out what we're trying to ask of this bend. Is actually pretty hard, I realize, but what I'm thinking we ought to do here is cut this back to probably right about here, right as it starts making the bend. And then, or really probably right closer in here, but this bend is gonna help us. We'll see what we can do. It's gonna be tough, but we'll get to cutting. All right, we'll see if this this piece right here gets us close. Oh, there we go. Nice. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that. I think you can. Nice. So this probably needs to get trimmed just a little more so we can scoot it back a hair. I still think we're too far forward on this side. If you can see on that side, we're a little further back, which is closer to where I want to be. Alrighty, here we go. We got this little guy in here, and I haven't tested it yet, but hopefully we'll be good to go. And she wants to hold, but the next thing we would have to do is drill bolt holes in the bottom of the feet for the actual radiator mounts. We still have our clearance on top of the pump there, and this neck lines right up with the thermostat housing, so we'll just need a straight section of hose right there, and it sits straight in the tractor. So I'm pretty happy with that. Alrighty, so I got these holes drilled, and I kind of just have the bolts pushed through on each side right now, just keeping it where it needs to be lined up. But I am pretty dang happy with how this fit up. We got really lucky, to be honest. There was a lot less calculation in purchasing this radiator and guessing the fit of it than I'd like to admit. But needless to say, we got to tighten that up, and then I do not want to cut apart this 90 up here, because if I can't get another 90 for this dozer, and or I need to switch back to the other radiator, then this is going to be needed. So I will just go to Napa and get a straight section, because I don't have a piece, and then go from the thermostat housing up to the actual neck. Alrighty, check it out. I don't have any leaks down here yet on either side, and we're probably at least halfway up the core. Just a little bit of water leaking down, and that's just coming from the top here because I don't have that hooked up. And I'm just filling slowly, but I am pretty dang stoked. I think this is gonna work. I think this is gonna be good for us. So the old Case 310 has a Construction King radiator. Alrighty guys, and with that, we are going to end today's video. I am so stoked. We covered a ton of ground in this video. We got our radiator situation all mounted up there, which I am thrilled about. We got the thing freaking moving. After 15 years, this dozer is back crawling again, and we got the blade function back. I am just over the moon right now. I am so excited, because this gives us hope that we will make the May 16th and 17th National Pike Steam Show event down in Brownsville, Pennsylvania. So if you guys like this content, we've got plenty more coming as we get this thing ready to go, restored, and looking mighty fine for the upcoming steam show. With that, we'll see you on the next one.